The rain had already turned the lonely roadside into a mirror of broken lights and restless shadows when the man noticed the motorcycle lying on its side. For most people, it would have been just another stormy night, another stranger's problem on an empty road. But for Daniel Carter, a tired single father driving home after a 14-hour shift, the sight felt different. Something inside him refused to let him keep driving. Because sometimes, the smallest moment of kindness can change two lives forever. Before we continue this emotional story, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who believes kindness still exists in the world, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe to the channel if you believe that second chances can change everything. Daniel Carter had never imagined his life would become this quiet. 3 years earlier, his world had shattered when his wife passed away unexpectedly, leaving him alone with their 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Since that day, every morning had started before sunrise and every night had ended long after exhaustion had already claimed his body. Daniel worked as a mechanic in a small garage on the edge of town, fixing cars for people who barely remembered his name once they drove away. Money was always tight. Bills were always waiting. But Lily's smile was the one thing that kept him moving forward. That night, Daniel was driving home through a heavy rainstorm, his old pickup truck rattling with every bump in the road. The headlights cut through the darkness when he suddenly noticed something ahead, a black motorcycle lying near the shoulder of the road. At first, he almost kept driving. He had groceries in the back seat. Lily was waiting for him. The storm was getting worse. But then he saw a figure sitting beside the fallen bike. A woman. So Daniel pulled over. When he stepped out into the rain, the cold wind hit his face like needles. The woman looked up slowly. She wore a black riding jacket and helmet, and mud covered the road around her boots. The motorcycle was scratched but not destroyed. Daniel helped lift the bike upright before asking if she was hurt. She shook her head, clearly exhausted but determined. Her voice was calm when she thanked him, though there was something strange about her presence, something confident, almost mysterious. The bike had stalled, she explained. And in the middle of nowhere, with the rain pouring harder by the minute, there was no signal to call anyone. Daniel wasn't the type to leave someone stranded. So he offered something simple. A warm place to sit, a phone charger, and a ride to town. The woman hesitated for a moment, studying him as if trying to understand what kind of man would stop for a stranger in a storm. Finally, she accepted. Her name, she said, was Elena. The drive back into town was quiet. Rain tapped rhythmically against the windshield as Daniel focused on the road. Elena sat quietly in the passenger seat, occasionally glancing at the worn interior of the truck, the cracked dashboard, the toy dinosaur stuck near the gear shift, the faded photograph taped near the radio. It showed Daniel holding a little girl on his shoulders. Lily. When Elena asked about her, Daniel's tired face softened immediately. He explained how Lily was the center of his life now, how every day he tried to be both father and mother for her. There was no self-pity in his voice. Just quiet determination. Something about that honesty made Elena smile faintly. Instead of dropping her at a hotel, Daniel made another decision that surprised even himself. The storm had grown stronger, and the nearest motel was miles away. So he invited her to stay at his small house for the night until the rain stopped. It wasn't much, just a modest 2-bedroom home with peeling paint and a tiny front porch, but it was warm. When they arrived, Lily ran to the door the moment she heard the truck. Her small face lit up with excitement the second she saw her father. But her curiosity grew even more when she noticed the stranger standing behind him. Daniel introduced Elena as someone who needed help after her bike broke down. Lily didn't ask many questions. She simply smiled and offered Elena the last cookie she had saved from dinner. It was such a simple gesture that Elena stood frozen for a moment. In the world she came from, kindness was usually calculated, measured, or attached to expectations. But this child had given away her favorite treat without hesitation. That night, Daniel cooked a simple dinner, scrambled eggs, toast, and soup. Nothing fancy. But Elena noticed the way Lily laughed at her father's silly jokes, the way Daniel carefully tucked her into bed afterward, and the way the small house felt filled with something rare. Warmth. For the first time in a long while, Elena felt something shift inside her. Because Elena wasn't just a traveler on a broken motorcycle. She was one of the youngest self-made billionaires in the country. Her technology company had grown into a global empire within 5 years, making her wealthier than she had ever imagined as a child growing up in poverty. But success had come with a heavy price. Every relationship she had experienced felt transactional. Every person she met seemed more interested in her wealth than her heart. So months earlier, Elena had made a strange decision. She stepped away from her company temporarily, dressed like an ordinary traveler, and began riding across the country on her motorcycle, meeting people without revealing who she truly was. She wanted to know if genuine connection still existed. So far, most encounters had been disappointing. Until Daniel Carter. The next morning, sunlight finally replaced the storm clouds. Daniel offered to take a look at Elena's motorcycle in his garage. Within an hour, he discovered the problem, a damaged fuel line. It was an easy fix. When Elena tried to pay him, Daniel refused. He insisted it was nothing. Just a neighbor helping someone who needed it. Elena didn't argue, but she watched him carefully. His hands were rough from years of work. His clothes were worn. His house clearly needed repairs. Yet he had asked for nothing in return. Over the next few days, Elena delayed her departure. She spent time helping Lily with homework, listening to Daniel's quiet stories about rebuilding his life after loss. And slowly, something unexpected happened. Daniel began to laugh again. It had been years since someone new entered their world. But Elena's calm presence made the house feel lighter. Even Lily seemed happier. Daniel never asked many questions about Elena's past. He simply treated her like a friend. And that was something Elena had never experienced before. Eventually, the day came when she had to leave. Daniel stood in the driveway while Lily hugged Elena tightly. The motorcycle engine roared back to life, and Elena placed her helmet on slowly. Before riding away, she handed Daniel a small card. It only had a phone number on it. She told him that if he ever needed anything, he should call. Daniel thanked her politely, assuming he would never use it. Life returned to normal. Weeks passed. Then one afternoon, Daniel received a phone call from an unfamiliar number. When he answered, he heard Elena's voice. But this time, it sounded different, more formal. She asked him to come to the city the next day. Daniel hesitated but eventually agreed. What happened next left him speechless. The address she had given him led to the headquarters of one of the largest tech companies in the world. And when Daniel stepped inside, he saw Elena walking toward him. No riding jacket, no dusty boots. Instead, she wore a tailored suit and carried the quiet authority of someone used to leading thousands of employees. That was the moment Daniel realized the truth. The woman he had helped on a rainy roadside wasn't just a traveler. She was a billionaire. But Elena didn't talk about money first. She told Daniel that during her journey, she had searched for one thing, someone genuine. Someone kind. Someone who helped others without expecting anything in return. And somehow, she had found that person in him. What Elena offered next shocked him even more. She wanted to invest in Daniel's future, not with charity, but with opportunity. She planned to open a new automotive innovation center in his town and wanted Daniel to manage it. A stable salary. A future for Lily. A new beginning. Daniel stood silently for a long moment, overwhelmed. But Elena's final words were what truly mattered. She said she wasn't just searching for honesty in the world. She had been searching for love. Real love. And sometimes it appears in the most unexpected places, like a rainy roadside where a tired single father stops to help a stranger. Before we reach the ending of this story, I want to ask you something special. If you believe kindness can still change someone's life, comment the word kindness below. It helps spread stories like this to more people who need hope. Daniel didn't accept Elena's offer immediately. But over time, he realized something important. Sometimes life breaks us so that something better can grow in the cracks. Months later, the small town gained a new workshop that brought jobs and opportunity to many families. Daniel was no longer struggling just to survive. And Elena visited often, not as a billionaire CEO, but as someone who had finally found a place where she could be herself. And every evening, as Lily laughed on the porch while the sun set behind the quiet streets, Daniel remembered the stormy night when he chose to stop his truck. Because one simple act of kindness had changed everything. And maybe the most beautiful part of life is that we never know when the person we helped today might become the miracle we needed tomorrow. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes kindness still matters, and subscribe for more emotional stories like this. Because sometimes the world just needs a reminder that kindness can lead us to the love we never expected.